This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gab-fed show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. You have the code of a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know it's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
And do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Man Talk 133 with Charles and Darl, the movement dedicated to empowering men, uniting brothers, and building a strong coalition. This is more than just a conversation. It's a call to action. Join us as we uplift, support, and inspire men worldwide. Because together, we don't just talk, we lead. We grow and we conquer. Are you ready to be part of the coalition? Let's dive in.
And Talk 133 with Shaw
Yes,
and
sir.
Darryl. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, bro? How you feeling?
Ain't nothing to it. Welcome everybody to the show, man. Again, man. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
So, man, we got a topic tonight. It's probably gonna be near and dear to you a little bit. You know what I'm
What we
saying?
got?
Because your wife, why is the education system as a whole broken? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's you start out, what's your opinion? I mean, what you know about it from your wife, and then I'll go and give you some of the stuff that I got.
Educational, why it's broken? Education system.
Yeah, why do you
Well,
think it's broken?
Well, I could say a lot of time, funding in certain areas is probably why it's broken. Well, more likely it is why it's broken. But I would just say for me, mainly is parenting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think some of the
That's a good
parents
one.
are. Yeah, I don't think some of the parents are, more in tune into education as they should. I mean, because a lot of times parents, if your kids aren't acting right the way they're supposed to in school,
Mm-hmm.
and the teachers or principals or whatever try to combat that situation and talk to the parents about it, the parents would take the kids' side
Right.
and go against that will go against the teachers and the administration. They'll believe everything that the kid is saying, knowing that the kid can be terrible as all get out.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So the U.S. system faces numerous challenges, including declining enrollment, budget issues, and a focus of standardized testing over individual learning needs. Factors like low teacher pay, inadequate resources, and safety concerns also contribute to its struggles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the declining enrollment part kind of stuck out to me a little bit, right? Because I didn't look at it this way.
Declining enrollment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't look at it this way. Lower birth rates and changes in migration patterns are leading to a decrease in student populations, which in turn impacts school budgets as funding often is tied to enrollment. So you think about it, back in the day, you probably had, I don't know, parents had probably 6, 7 kids, right? All of them went to school.
Yeah.
Now you may have 1 or 2, maybe. Some of them grown and don't even have kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that kind of stuck out to me. I didn't look at it that way. Why, you know how we talk about some areas may the funding may be impacted in certain areas. And that may be a reason why, because of decline in enrollment. So if you don't have the enrollment, what's the point in getting the funding?
Right. I guess there's too, like, you know, in some of those, like say decline enrollment, I think a lot of parents are putting their kids in like charter schools and different schools and stuff like that. So some of the rural areas, like where we came from, like a lot of rural areas, those schools are definitely declining.
Yeah,
you know, in enrollment, because they're you know, a lot of the parents that kind of came up with us, you know, they're moving to the larger cities, so they're enrolling into more urban schools and stuff like that. So, you know, it's really taking an impact, putting an impact on well, I put it this way, the rural schools are really taking an impact on that low enrollment. You know what I'm saying?
And then it affect the budget cuts because you're not getting the same amount of resources you're gonna get. You got 500 kids versus you have 1,000 kids.
Right.
You know, I'm sure some educators out here that's maybe listening and, you know, may see this video. I mean, you can chime in and just let us know what y'all thoughts, are. You know what I mean? The standardized testing and focus on lack of flexibility. A strong emphasis on standardized testing can overshadow the importance of individual learning needs and development of crucial thinking and problem solving, which is kind of key, because when you focus on the test, just the test only, and not what a child is going to really need to be successful. Like this child may be super smart,
right?
This other one may not be as smart, so you got to focus on them instead of focusing, you know, just strictly on that test.
But some can't. But some kids just can't test. You know what I'm saying? You know, they freak out. You know, they can be smart as all get out, you know, during the course of the year. But when it comes to that that standardized testing, you know, they crack under pressure. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is, that anxiety.
True that, man.
You know,
True that. And that, but still, I still think that they can still kind of lock in on what a child kind of needs. For example, you have one strong in math, one strong in English. Now, if you're taking a math, you can't put that child in algebra. If they, you know, if they need to be in basic math, you setting them up for failure.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's I kind of get what you're saying too. But just to focus with them just on test alone, when they get out in the real world, that's all they know is that test. You know what they learn in the test. So it's kind of the problem solving piece will be missing. You know, like us, when we was in school, we did auto mechanics. You know, we did brick masonry and you know, stuff like that, which kind of helped, you know, as we grew up. You know what I'm saying? Not change tires right now. I can go pull probably 10 kids.
Oh yeah. And
none of them probably could change a tire.
No, definitely can't.
They can call roadside assistance, but they can't.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And this right here is another one, man, you may can speak to this because your wife is in the school system, right? Teacher shortages and unsupportive work environment, low pay, demanding workloads, lack of resources can make teaching a challenging and unsustainable career.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna go to next. That next topic that you're talking about. So we're on the same page, man. Like, yeah, teachers, man, they don't get the proper pay. I think all of them should get, like, you know, a nice adequate salary. And then, like I said, man, with the supplies and stuff like that, man, all the teachers, not some of them, all the teachers, man, they got to go in their own pockets to get supplies most of the time for their kids, for their classrooms and stuff like that. So yeah, their teachers, man, they drag the teachers.
They
the most important. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. My bad. But don't the schools are supposed to supply the supplies? And that probably come back to the lack of funding because of lack of students.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, they do to a certain point. I don't really know all the, you know, details on that, but I know a lot of times, man, like I say, the teachers that I know, my wife included, and then like I say, of course, I got other family members,
Mm-hmm.
there's teachers, they got to get a lot of stuff for the kids. They self, man,
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So from now, just I'm sure you've been to a school and stuff like that. Are the classes like overcrowded in her class, or just small classes, or what is it?
No, with her, she has about 26 kids.
Oh, wow.
In the kindergarten class. And see, they got 3 kindergarten classes, right? I'm speaking this on my wife. She got 3 kindergarten classes. I mean, it's 3 kindergarten classes as a whole. In her class, each class used to have 3 assistants, teachers assistants. So now with the teacher shortage is what you was talking about. Those 3 kindergarten classes now, where they've been working like this all year, they only have 1 assistant that they got to share between the 3 classes.
Oh, wow. Okay, I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying. So then okay, the next point. Let me go on to the next point, because I'm gonna dig back. Micromanagement and scripted curricula can stifle teacher creativity and innovation. Just for the people that maybe just tuning in, we're talking about why the school system is broken. Micromanagement, they basically what they're doing is, from what I'm reading, is this is they giving the teachers what to teach instead of letting the teachers be creative and teach what they know to teach.
Right.
Which you kind of take and stifles the teacher's creativity. If I come and give you, just like for your kids, if you come and give them a blueprint of what they supposed to do all the time, instead of letting them think through it, it kind of stifles their creativity. Like, hey,
right,
I know what you think, but no, let's do it this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that could be kind of like a one of the things too. Teacher unions. I don't know about the teacher union things. I don't know. Do they even have teacher unions down here?
I think they do. I think they had like a state something, NCEA or something like that. I'm not for sure. I'm not really too familiar with it. I think they do.
Okay.
But I don't really know how they work.
Okay, gotcha. All right, we'll skip that then. Safety concerns and bullying, rising school violence, including gun violence, creates a stressful and unsafe environment for students and teachers. That's a big one. That's a big one. If you got to be concerned whether you're gonna make it home every night,
that's wild. Yeah,
you got to be concerned if you're gonna get jumped on because you give somebody a bad grade, or you say something like, "Hey, can you go back and sit down?" That kind of probably the reason why you have a teacher shortage.
Yeah, man, a lot of them are quitting, because of that same thing you just talking about. Because most teachers, they're adults, of course, they're gonna defend themselves. And if a kid try to jump them, especially in the higher grades, and if a teacher put their hands on them to defending themselves, the teacher's gonna get fired.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the teachers, they're handcuffed. You know what I mean? So in that they're handcuffed in that situation.
Well, that's one I'm gonna tell you right now. I wouldn't be handcuffed because I'm getting fired. I'm just going. I'm gonna let you know that's one that I'm going. Yeah, that'd be my last day. Before I do what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pack my stuff up in that little box. And so when I finish dragging them through the classroom, I can grab my little box and go and leave, because I'm gonna get fired. Because that's just I'm speaking for me, because
because I'm gonna leave whatever I got in the classroom, except what I got on me, my personal belongings or whatever. I'm gone. I'm gonna leave everything on the desk. They can have it all. The female teachers, they got to get their purses and all this stuff like that. So I don't carry none of that stuff. So when you go down like that, hey, the next teacher that's coming in, they got some free supplies. They ain't got to buy nothing.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Then another thing, man, bullying is also a significant problem, with a higher percentage of students reporting experiencing it. Hey, look, we're gonna jump back into this bullying part, man, because we right up against the break. So we're gonna go into the break and then come back and get into the bullying part.
Okay.
Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. At 19 years old, he was sent off to war, not really sure what he was fighting for. So he fights for what's behind him and his brothers beside him. Together they'll weather the storm. 9 long months later and he's still alive. Fought several long battles you shouldn't have survived. Then the IED exploded as the ambush unfolded. He laid there bleeding as his brothers all died. Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. Reinforcements arrived in the nick of time. Old Doc had found him and called in the nightline. He awoke in the hospital, they patched all the holes. Too bad they couldn't fix the ones in his soul. And 16 years later he locks all the doors, unable to find anything worth living for. His family has left him, he feels society rejects him. With a bottle and a pistol, he falls to the floor. Whatever happened to the brave old veteran? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he sat there and cried, with only his memories sitting there by his side. Brothers and sisters, we can't lose this war. Have we forgotten what the hell we fought for? Pick up the phone, don't knock on the door. 22 too many, we must carry on, fighting these battles until they are won. We know that we walk on the edge of a knife, but one simple call can save a life. Whatever happened to the brave old veteran? He was a good friend of mine.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
33 with Charles and Daryl. So before the break, man, we were talking about bullying.
Bullying, yeah.
Yeah, bullying is one of those things, man. That's a real issue now. I know I know it's kids on kids a lot, but sometimes it's adults on kids.
Yeah,
you know, they bullying the kids, and I think that's one of the things I think it's kind of overlooked a little bit. We always think about, you know, remember the show Little Rascals? What was the dude named Butch? The one who bully everybody.
Yeah.
We always think of Butch with a little sleeves rolled or whatever he had on, right?
Yeah, everybody shoot.
Yeah. So we always think of him as the kid bullying. But I mean, we got grown folks to do bullying too, man. That need to be looked at as well.
Yeah. And I guess, man, you know, you don't know if you're talking about teachers or just adults as a whole.
Well, as a whole, But in school, since we talking about schools, like teachers too, you know, in schools, I say it like that.
Yeah, because you can have some teachers that bully students.
Yeah.
If their other student, just because their other student parent might be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And they might not like that other teacher.
Yeah.
So they can bully it, you know what I'm saying? Or the teacher may know that, like I said, a parent that may not be in the school, so they may just know them from the street.
Yeah.
So now they got a chance to put their thumb on the back of the student to get back at that parent that they don't like. So it can work like that too.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Yeah. And then another reason why, man, the school educational system is broken. Lack of focus on real world skills. Traditional schools often prioritize memorization over critical thinking and problem solving, leaving students unprepared for the demands of the modern workforce. Now, back in the day, I just mentioned how we used to do that. I don't even know if they have auto mechanics classes still in schools now. Brick masonry. I don't even know if they kind of have this stuff, but it kind of puts the kids in a place where you kind of handicap them a little bit.
Yeah, they had small engines and stuff like that too. Yep.
Yeah. And then they solely focusing on somebody else doing it. Like they have no hands-on skills. Small engine repair. They used to have that in school. Yep. I'm not sure what it is right now. I think they focus more so on computers now. I'll try to look at it a different way. They may be trying to prepare them for what we going into. They may be training them on computers because that's where everything is going to.
Right. And I think over here, I have one of the high schools over here, maybe all of them. I know they teach the guys. If I'm not mistaken, I think they teach them they introduce them into firefighting.
Oh, okay. That's a good thing, man.
Yeah, and I think, I'm not for sure, don't quote me on this, I think they introduced them to like power lines, like the guys do the power lines and stuff like that, because it's attached to the community college. So they can kind of dabble in that when they're in high school, if that's what they want to stay focused in. So, I think they can do pretty good, if they learn that.
Yeah, I agree. But all the stuff I just listed, man.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that or not.
Yeah. All the stuff I just listed, and all the stuff the teachers have to go through. The average salary in 2023, 2024 was $72,030.
What state was that?
This is a national average.
72.
Yeah, and then depends on where you are. The salaries averaged $46,526.
Okay.
And it's as I guess different places. The national average is 72. Starting salary 46. And I guess if you go into places like California,
right?
Different places like that. It probably would go up because it's a bigger state, bigger. You know what I mean? It may go up, but that's the national average, 72,000.
Right. Wake and Mecklenburg, they might be up there.
Probably.
But like probably the smaller counties, they probably fall somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said before, man, they need to make more teachers.
Yeah, man. There's something they got to be passed for them to do just a little bit more for the teachers, man. So you remember we talking about the education system. The education system also includes colleges. So the college system is broken as well. You know what I'm saying? American colleges system faces numerous challenges as well, including rising tuition costs, student debt, a disconnect between higher education and the job market, and the perception that is more focused on selectivity and ranking than student success. These issues contribute to declining confidence in higher education and make it less accessible and affordable for many. Basically, like the rise in tuition costs.
Yeah, they got to do something about that, man. They got to do something about it because, like you saying, with I guess what you were saying, the low enrollment, right? It's declining.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I ain't saying nothing wrong with that, but like this right here, but a lot of people, you know, they kind of trending back to the community colleges.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but like I say, you know, if you want to get, you know, I guess quote unquote higher learning,
Yeah.
these big universities, they're gonna have to cut back that, you know, lower that tuition, man. That's ridiculous.
But you know what's crazy is there's a disconnect between the higher education and the job market. So most schools used to train you for specific jobs. So now you go they tell you, oh no, you get a degree in political science. What job can you get in political science?
Bridgestone, they'd be right out there with me when I used to be out there.
Throwing tires and doing all that. You see what I'm saying? So you're kind of wasting time and money.
I had some guys out there like that was working with me. They did 4 years in colleges and stuff like that. Pledge and everything.
Yeah.
It was out there with me. I'm looking at them like, bro, what y'all doing here with me? You know, but hey, like you said, the job market or whatever they was in, you know, whatever they majored in, it didn't match up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, like the rising cost, man, had soared, which it makes it unaffordable for any families. Most families, if you getting student loans, you know, that's another thing you got to deal with, because now the cost is so high, you can't really pay out of pocket unless you take your 529 plan and probably max it out or however they do that and just keep doing it. I mean, you got, in order for to pay for your kids' education. Now I'm just speculating because I don't know. I ain't no economist or nothing like that. I'm just saying, but you got to start when they probably 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yep.
And save all the way till they get to like 18 to pay for that. And then now, since the costs are going up, you're gonna have even more money to save to get in, because you got so many people in student debt, man. You can't really. They can't go back into college because now once you max out your student loans, you can't get more money. So now you got a bunch of debt and can't get back into college, because what a lot of people have done was once they got out of college and they, student loans come due, as long as you're in school, you don't have to pay student loans. So now you go back into school again to stop the student loans, but you add more money to the debt.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy how they do that.
So it's kind of like a trap. As long as you're in school and you paying this money, right? Or you getting these student loans, you don't got to pay that. It's deferred or whatever till you get finished.
Like I said, they got to wait for you to finish line.
Yeah. Now you got people that got like 18 degrees. You can't do nothing with neither one of them. You know what I mean? So you got like a plaque behind your wall of just degrees, which you can't use for 1 degree at the time. So, but it's kind of like a trap, you know, like the student debt, the accumulation of student loan debt can be a significant burden for graduates, impacting their financial stability and career choices. If you got this debt coming out of school,
right,
and it's due, so say for example, you graduate June, and your first payment is due in December or January.
Man,
Dude, now you work for 6 months just to get ready to start prepared to pay student loans.
Yeah, and I guess the way you explained that last topic, hey, that's probably why those people got all those degrees. Then they just
keep going back. Keep going back.
I didn't know it worked like that. You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah,
but, you need a little research on it, so you know.
Yeah, then you gotta where, say for example, if you max at the undergraduate level, then you got the graduate level, which you make it get more money. You dig what I'm saying? So they just keep, and then before you know it, man, you got $200,000 in student debt that you gotta face that tsunami when you get finished with school. So hey, we right up against the break. We're gonna jump back into this right after the break, y'all.
Signed up to fight for freedom,
What a price you had to pay. Picture in a helmet, missing family every day. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane. Some scars we'll never see. She will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. On that old dusty base with the meadows that shine, she's been to hell and back for the stars and the stripes. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane, and some scars we'll never see, and she will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. Yeah, yes. For the ones that didn't make it, we will pause and then we cry. We can still see their smile in every sunrise. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Back, welcome back.
Boy said, welcome, Quack.
Welcome, Quack. That's what he said, dog. Hey, welcome back, y'all. So before we went to the break, yo, we were talking about the student loans. Now we talk about the lack of affordability. So, you know, school free, but college you got to pay for. I'm sure people know that, right? So the high cost and burdensome loan repayment plans prevent students from, completing their degree. Like it's so much, dog, that I give you okay. Some people when they go to Duke. Duke is $80,000 a semester.
That's why I'm gonna say they up there.
Yeah,
like,
they're about $80,000 a semester. So
that's
think about that.
That's more than what teachers make a year. You know what I'm saying? Or average person.
Exactly. So now you see why the student loan, the Perkins and all these, the staffing and all these loan people, why they don't mind giving you the money. Because if you don't pay it, they can start garnishing it. So you got to, one way or another, you're gonna have to pay it. You know what I'm saying? You can get deferments, forbearance, all this kind of stuff, but eventually they're gonna come due and you're gonna have to pay that. Every penny you got, you're gonna have to pay it.
That's high-end crime right there. It's almost like probation and parole.
Oh no, they definitely got the ski mask and the gloves out there. Yeah. That's for sure. Every time you go in, they got the ski mask and the gloves out waiting on you so they can go ahead and get that. That's for sure. That's for sure. Then some other stuff, man, that reason why colleges are failing, because we talk about the schools, now we're in the colleges, outdated curriculum. Some feel that college curricula does not adequately prepare graduates for demands of the modern workforce, which is true because everything is going to like robots and AI and all this stuff. If you still using one of them old what's them HPs, you in trouble because everything is so far advanced. Then if you don't do like my son did and build your own PC where you can put the graphics card, the speed, whatever you want in it, and you go get one of them ones from I don't know if they still sell them things.
Jordan built his own.
Yeah, Jordan built his own.
The boy got some skills, don't he?
Just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so
I won't gonna let that slide back. We had to put that out there. We might have to holler at him.
Yeah, to get you one built, man. He's very intelligent. No lie about that. So he built his own PC, right? With the two monitors. So if you go get one of the old school ones from Dell or wherever those places are, if you go get one like that, it may not be compatible to like what we're doing right now. The speed may not be fast enough. You may not have enough RAM, and I'm sure Joe somewhere listening, he probably like, we leaving some out, but I know you know what we talking about.
Right.
And the RAM, and the speed and all that.
Right. It's like you saying too bad at high tech, like everything going automated, AI, whatever.
Yeah.
That's even like in the manufacturing, the manufacturing field.
Yeah.
Like we had, like before I left, we had robots inside of the place I worked, the plant I was talking about, like the real big robots. And you had guys that worked on them, like worked on them, stuff like that. They were, they went to the, engineering or mechanic school and all this stuff like that. So, like you said, it's required now, man. So eventually it's going to keep going the way it's going. Like you said, there's some people that's going to get left behind,
Right. Which that's the next point, is a disconnect between education and industry needs. So the education, the industry needs this to take us here, but the education is still over here teaching this. So now when you got that gap, when they come out of school, they got a degree that they really can't use because they don't have like a specialized. Now you got to go back to school and specialize in this, and then go back, and once you get that done, specialize in that, which is more money.
Well, wouldn't that be unless that's by design, wouldn't it be feasible, if you want to use that word, for recruiters to put the people in the right direction?
You're talking about job recruiters?
Yeah, like college and stuff like that. Because if unless it may be just depending on the individual, because you know what I'm saying, if I'm working in the industry and I know where the industry is taking me, and I see some people that's coming in college that's enthused, they want to learn a lot of stuff like a sponge and all that.
Yeah, I
would try to send them in their direction. I see them going this way, but I would try to send them in the direction where the market is going. Then would that fall on the recruiters to try to help them? Because sometimes some kids is going to college, they may not, like we went to the military. You might not have nobody to put you in the right direction.
Right, I agree with what you're saying, but that still goes back to the outdated curriculum that they may have. Like, say, like for example, like some countries, like you may have China, India, what are those countries like that? They may put a little bit more in the education system, to get on the cutting edge, and the U.S. may not, because they may not even. I ain't say they're gonna feel that they deem as important, but they just don't really may not just focus on that part of it. You know what I'm saying? But I get your point. They should have recruiters in place. Like back in school, you had guidance counselors that came and talked to me and told me like, hey, I had 6 months left. If you don't turn this around, you're gonna be in the 12th grade again. Right. So that's right. I see what
exactly. Or like I said, like the way the market is going. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like, like okay, I didn't have no guidance. So
Yeah.
when I went in straight infantry.
Yep.
But y'all wanted to come in behind me.
Yeah.
So by me already taking the
Taking that
first
lump.
shot,
Yeah.
taking the first lump on the head, I was able to, like, yo, y'all don't want to go the way I went. Y'all need to go this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Seems like, it ought to be some people in place that's in colleges that would do that too. But I understand what you're saying about the outdated systems or whatever, curriculum or whatever.
Yeah. And boy, did that pay off too, because I ain't go nowhere near infantry. I was the information management. That definitely was in office.
See, look at you. See, hey, I let y'all boys stand on my shoulders for a little while. You know what I'm saying?
Just a little bit. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Other issues, admission processes can be complex and stressful for students.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because you have so many people, you have so many students with so little workers in place to kind of help them get it, like as you say, get in the right field. Like they may have a passion for computers, but then they go put them in political science, or they may go put them in something else that they may not work for them. They may want to fix on computers.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of like what I was saying. Like, they may come in with the idea they may have an interest in computers, but like I said, they may go in, like you said, political science or whatever, or something like that. If they got an interest in that, they enthuse that, you kind of guide them that way, because that's where the market is going.
Exactly. That's what's trending.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what's trending. Yeah.
I agree. Administrative overhead. Colleges are increasingly burdened by administrative overhead and paperwork. So many people trying to get into college, so many people to help process them into college, which is that's kind of been the thing for the longest time. You got so many people trying to get into UNC or NC State and Duke and all these top schools. They don't have the infrastructure in place to kind of facilitate all of that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And lack of transparency. Students and the public often lack transparency about colleges spend their money and what their graduation rates are. So they fluff the numbers. That they try to make it look like they retention rate is, hey, we got a retention rate of I don't know 80%, when actually they got maybe 30%.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you get in there, you find out the hard way. You like,
yeah.
You kind of like, yo, I thought y'all told me y'all had 80%, bro. I see folk quitting every day. So what's
right?
Something ain't right, bro. Y'all is lying to me. You know what I'm saying? Well, done lied to you, because you in now at least for a semester that you quit.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Community college transfer issues. Transfer process from the community college to universities can be complex and insufficient. Now, let me say this. I never transferred from community college to university, but I transferred from a university to another university, and it was actually pretty easy.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody have done that. Hey,
was that from a main for big college to
from a little one to a big one?
No, I'm talking, okay.
Community college to like a big university.
You said you don't know if anybody ever did that?
When I know some people have. I said I haven't. I transferred from one university to another university.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know that process. It could be complex. I mean, because you talking about two different entities. You talk about maybe like a Wake Tech. You're trying to communicate with Wake Tech, and let's say Duke trying to communicate.
Right. Kind of like kind of like a junior college or something.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So you kind of trying to put them two together. It's probably kind of like it could be complex because of the amount of people that may be trying to get out of the big colleges into the new college. Hey, we're up against a break, y'all. We'll be right back after the break.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandals' 16 all-inclusive luxury included, adults only resorts, or a family friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back, y'all. This is it. It's almost over.
Yep.
It's
It's almost over.
that quick. I mean, it goes by so fast. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we do. We always talk the problem,
Mm-hmm.
and we got to get the solution. How do we fix the broken education system? We're gonna go with schools first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fixing a broken education system involves a multifaceted approach, focusing on improving teacher support, which for me would be pay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Protection, addressing funds issue, getting more money in, maybe having like a set amount that it doesn't go under, so they can still still grow, and enhancing learning environments to try to deal with this bullying issue and all this stuff like that. The next thing is say this includes in teacher pay and providing them with more anatomy in curriculum and classroom management, along with investing in more equitable school funding. Increased, that's the first one on the list, bro. Increased pay. You was talking about this earlier. Increased pay and benefits. Attracting and retaining qualified teachers requires competitive salaries and benefits.
Yeah.
You gotta have it.
And that's what I'm saying, man. Not just because my wife is a teacher, man, and my family members, a lot of my family members are teachers, but man, the teachers, man, they get drugged, man.
You gotta have it.
Yeah,
You
they
gotta
get,
have
like I said, benefits and pay, and then, like I said, then when they get to the end of their career, they trying to retire. Some of them can't retire right, like the way they want to. You know. Then some of them, when they retire, they may have to get a part-time job somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Or go back to work.
Yeah, they got to fix that, man.
Yeah, they got to handle that, man. Reduce bureaucracy, streamlining administrative tasks, and reducing paperwork allows teachers to focus on teaching and student needs. Get more assistants in classes. And you just said it was like 3 kindergarten classes. They got 1 assistant. So now she got to run around to 3.
Yep. It used to be 3, 1 per class, right?
Yeah.
And now it's 1. That 1 assistant got to go to 1, 2, 3 classes back and forth all day.
Now you think about that. Back in the day, you always had a teacher and a teacher's aide.
Yep.
Always. Yep. That was just a given. You would sometime rather have the teacher's aide than the student. I mean, than the actual teacher, because you can cut up a little more.
Yeah, they give you a little bit more freedom.
Get a little bit more freedom. Get a little extra recess outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Professional developments, providing opportunities for teachers to enhance their skills and knowledge through mentorship, collaboration, and advanced learning can improve teaching practices. I mean, I'm pretty sure they went to school, so they kind of, I ain't saying that they made it, but I'm just saying, just let them be them in the classroom, and you probably would see a tremendous growth in, their class if you let them be more creative, more, them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got to teach them, man. Because like I said, some curriculums don't allow the teachers to teach. Like you were saying, they don't allow them to teach certain things. So you got to kind of the teachers got to kind of teach them, you know, what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Investing in resources, ensure that schools have access to adequate resources, including technology, materials, and staff support is crucial for effective teaching and learning. You cannot give them. You ever seen them old computers, them laptops look like them blocks? You can't.
Yeah.
You can't get the kids the blocks where, and you can't give them dial up where, you know, you make that little sound.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You got to give them the stuff that everybody else is using, so they can be up to date on what they need to, when they do go to the next level. They got somewhat of an understanding of, you know, what the next level is.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I was saying, you know, earlier too. You know, with the, like, some schools, they may be behind because of, you know, they might have dial up, but they looking at the school across town, they may be getting the new computers and, you know, they up to date new school buildings and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those situations, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, true that, man, because you remember going to school back in the day where you had when you go to the gyms, our gym raggedy,
right?
They gym fire, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, you know what? Hold on, something happened to the screen.
Yeah, let me fix that, y'all. Hey, I just wanted to come on here and tell you that you got some TikTokers following you, and they're trying to get everything lined up. Their reply is, "That's when school was done right. Get the government out of schools," and just a few comments about that. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Joel.
Yeah.
So
what happened? You know what happened? I was like,
you was like, bye. I was like,
oh no, I saw my stuff in the bottom corner there, and I said, I'm still here. Joe, I'm waiting out and see what happened.
Well, man, hit it with the okey doke, dog. No, appreciate you, Joe.
Yeah,
but they right though. They right. Get the government out of schools, and you know, for real though, smaller classes. You know what I mean? Lowering student and teacher ratio allows for more individualized attention and support, which is true. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, because you can have that. Your wife is what, 1 to 26 or something?
Yeah, about 26.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a whole lot. And then you talking about you gotta.
I'm still here. I'm still here. You are the other picture up. I'm still here.
But you still, you know, she gotta do lesson plans for all of them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She working on some this weekend.
My point. for a lot. You know what I'm saying? Discipline and safety. Implementing clear and concise discipline policies and creating a safe, inclusive learning environment and for essential student success. We was talking about that. You know, getting rid of bullying, getting rid of all that stuff like that. And, you know, that'll help them. I mean, you want to go to school if it's safe.
Right.
If you got to go in there and worry about a bullet.
Yeah, man.
Or a knife or somebody going to try to attack you. You don't want to, especially for what I tell you, starting at 46, the national average is 72.
Yeah. Yep.
Think about
72, 46 is the average.
Think about that.
You know what I'm saying? I guess I guess that 46 is on the low end.
Yeah. Problem when you just graduate going in. You know what I'm saying? You gotta work your way up, get so many years in, and then you know you can move up to the 50, and then you move up to whatever you know, whatever they structure is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stronger partnerships, man. Parent and community involvement.
That's the key, man. Yeah, that's the key, man. That's right there.
Strong partnerships between schools, parents, and community can create supportive network for students. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's all it takes. That'll sum up this whole thing.
Yeah.
If they got the parents, got the partnership, you know, they got to start putting that, you know, I'm gonna say put that wood back to them kids like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how we got it. When we went to school, we had teachers. The teachers lived in the neighborhood and the principals.
Definitely got it.
So we saw them. We saw the principals and the teachers. We saw them at school and in the grocery store.
Bro, we definitely got it because I would prefer to go ahead and let him get me at school than go tell my mom.
Yeah, we did that plenty of days. Like, yeah, go ahead on and do it. Hey, look here. You stay in the office, don't tell mom, because mom gonna tell your dad. So I'm getting 3. I'm getting 1 from you and 2 at the house.
Yeah. But though, think about that though. It worked.
Yeah, it did.
You think about it. It definitely worked, because you thought about it. If he got you, mom gonna get you.
Oh yeah.
Then dad gonna get you, and somebody else might get you.
As soon as he get off work.
No, as soon you could be in the bed sleep. He's snatching them covers off. He works second shift. You getting it. He already told you getting it. So you can look for that. You know what I'm saying? So
but now we got the parents where my kid ain't done that to nobody. So we got that era now. You know what I'm saying? The parents start back putting the fear in them kids and then they working with the teachers because the teacher, like I said, like I got my last baby girl, she in school, she already know that we can't get no phone call. She acting up at school. She already know she can't get no call like that. I can't get no call like that. Let me put it that way. Yeah. So,
she already know it.
Yeah, she already know.
The groundwork has been laid. You get one, I get one of them, you already know.
Yep. So
got to have it.
Yeah, so that's what the parents got to get back to it. But I don't see it happening in the foreseeable future.
No,
but it needs to happen though.
Yeah, because they're gonna take up for the kid. Like I know y'all did something to them. I know y'all did something to my child.
And they know their child bad at the house.
Like a little Damien, Doc.
Yeah, they know their child bad at the house, man. Come on now.
For real, man. Encouraging parental involvement, as we were talking about in their children's education, including attending PTAs, school events, and providing homework support, and can positively impact student outcomes. Stop giving your child a homework and just let them sit at the table and let them figure it out.
You said
Get
PTA.
involved. Yeah.
You said PTAs and school events. Now they gonna come to the PTA to meet the teacher about them grades, but when they had the field day, they gonna be out there, and they gonna be mad if their child don't get no t-shirt for field day. They gonna be out. See, basically what I'm saying is they ain't gonna really come out there for the educational part.
Right.
When the teachers need to address the kids and the parents about how the kid is doing in school, but they gonna show up for the party.
Right.
Whether it's a birthday party or field day or a bunch of food trucks out there, they gonna show up for that.
Yeah, 100%. So we're getting close to the end. Let me run through fixing the broken college system problem real quick. To fix the college system, we need to address multiple issues, including the high cost of tuition, debt burden on graduates, and the disconnect between higher education and the job market, focusing on affordability, exploring alternative pathways to higher education, and ensuring that education aligns with career goals to help create a more accessible and effective system. Basically, don't send them to school just to get a degree, just to get one. Make sure it's going to be something that's going to benefit them when they come out of school. You got to be able to, with this student debt, you got to, I would say, have a lower cutoff. You know what I'm saying? Instead of letting them go 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, whatever, just whatever the max is, just, whatever. All right. So this is the last one before we get out of here. To develop strong partnerships with businesses, encourage colleges to collaborate with local businesses to create internships, apprenticeships, and job placement opportunities. If we can do some of these things, man, we can fix the broken college system, broken education system as a whole.
Right.
So
I'm in agreement with everything you said, bro.
Yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in to Man Talk 133 with Shaw and Daryl. And till next time, God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.